Welcome back to the Arsenal Stage News, and remember, make subscribe, then continue. Zubimendi to Arsenal, a Basque maestro. Nears North London switch. For months, Arsenal fans had scanned every headline, every whispered rumour, hoping for concrete news. Now, as the summer sun shimmered over London Colney and the hum of pre-season preparations began, the story dominating every back page in England and Spain was no longer just speculation. Martin Zubimendi, the quiet conductor of Real Sociedad, was on the verge of joining Mikel Arteta's Arsenal. It was a transfer long in the making, birthed not in desperation, but in design. Arteta, himself once a Basque midfielder whose journey took him from San Sebastian to Premier League stardom, had kept a watchful eye on Zubimendi for over 2 seasons. His admiration was no secret within Arsenal's scouting department. In Zubimendi, Arteta saw not just a player, but an extension of his footballing philosophy. Intelligent, composed, disciplined, and eternally aware of the pitch around him. The 20 had quietly earned a reputation as one of La Liga's most elegant midfielders. A graduate of Real Sociedad's famed Zubieta Academy, he wasn't flashy. His football was nuanced. He made passes others didn't see, intercepted moves before they blossomed, and orchestrated games with the quiet authority of a symphony conductor. But it wasn't until Granit Xhaka's departure last summer and Thomas Partey's persistent injury issues that Arsenal accelerated their pursuit. Declan Rice had arrived to great fanfare, but Arteta craved balance, someone who could anchor the base of midfield while allowing Rice and Ødegaard to roam with freedom. Jorginho, though dependable, was a stopgap. Zubimendi, by contrast, was the long-term answer. The deal, however, had always seemed complicated. Zubimendi was loyal, perhaps fiercely so. Last summer, Barcelona had courted him heavily. He declined. Bayern Munich inquired in January. He politely rebuffed. "I am at home here," he had said at the time, "and I owe much to Real Sociedad." But football, like time, changes everything. Quiet discussions began in early May. Edu Gaspar, Arsenal's technical director, had reached out to Zubimendi's camp discreetly. Unlike the bombastic approaches of other clubs, Arsenal moved with subtlety and respect. They didn't wave money or promises. They offered a vision, a place in one of Europe's most progressive squads, under a manager who understood Zubimendi, both culturally and tactically. Sources close to the player began to shift their tone. While previously adamant he would remain in Spain, Zubimendi was now considering. He admired Arsenal's rise. Their narrow title near miss in 2023, the stylish football, the faith in young talent. He had watched as Arteta turned Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli into world beaters, as William Saliba matured into a defensive titan. The Basque midfielder could see himself thriving in red and white. But there was the release clause, 60 million, and Real Sociedad's insistence that they would not negotiate below it. Arsenal, wary of drawn-out sagas, opted for decisiveness. Last weekend, a delegation flew to San Sebastian. While no official announcement was made, multiple Spanish outlets reported that Arsenal had agreed to activate the full clause. It was a statement of intent. No haggling, no games. By Monday, trusted journalists Fabrizio Romano and David Ornstein were tweeting in tandem. "Zubimendi to Arsenal, here we go!" Almost. The player had given his green light. Personal terms had been verbally agreed. A 5-year contract awaited, with an option for a 6th, and a salary that would reflect his importance in the squad hierarchy, just under £150,000 per week. The move was not just significant tactically, but symbolically. For Arteta, it was personal. In Zubimendi, he wasn't merely signing a player. He was endorsing.
Another news.
Reece James joins Arsenal. The news hit like a thunderclap across English football. Reece James, Chelsea captain, confirmed as an Arsenal player. Few transfers in recent memory had caused such a stir, fewer still involving a player so deeply woven into the fabric of a rival club. It had been a season of turbulence at Stamford Bridge. The revolving door of managers, the chaos of bloated squads, and the lack of direction gnawed at James. Though still only 25, he had already tasted the highs of Champions League glory and the lows of repeated injury layoffs and missed opportunities. He had grown from the Cobham Academy into Chelsea's leader, wearing the armband with pride. Yet something in him whispered that he had plateaued, that perhaps the time had come for a bold, unthinkable move. That whisper turned into a conversation in April 2025, shortly after Chelsea's limp exit from the Europa Conference League. In a quiet meeting with his agent in Surrey, the question was raised. Arsenal had been watching closely. Mikel Arteta, ever the tactician, had long admired James, not just for his defensive solidity or his delivery from the right flank, but for his leadership and professionalism. In secret, Arsenal's sporting director Edu began laying groundwork, knowing full well the media storm it would ignite. The deal moved quickly behind closed doors. By late May, James had met with Arteta in North London. It wasn't a sales pitch, it was a footballing philosophy. A vision. James, a student of the game, was captivated. He spoke to me not just about how I'd fit into the system, James would later say in his unveiling interview, but how I could evolve as a player and a leader. The trigger came when Chelsea failed to qualify for European football. James, loyal as he was, recognized that sentimentality couldn't outweigh stagnation. Arsenal, on the other hand, had just secured a second-place Premier League finish and were back in the Champions League. Their project brimmed with energy, Martin Odegaard orchestrating the midfield, Bukayo Saka lighting up the right wing, and William Saliba marshalling the back line. Reece saw a place for himself in the middle of it all. By early June, the clubs had reached an agreement, a £68 million fee plus add-ons.